So good evening, everyone, and this is Edvestigate Live with Rotimi Attire and Ronke Posh. And if you're live and you're viewing this video from whatever part of the world, I'd like to welcome you all to a special time together. And we'll be having a great time, I believe. And so let me use that opportunity to just allow those who are connecting with us to connect with us, and then we'll take it from there. So if you're joining us tonight, let us know where you're joining us from, and let's take it from there. So I'm expecting to be joined by Ronkepo shortly, and so let me use the opportunity to hold on a bit. Okay, so we're live on Instagram, and then we're also live on YouTube. So if you're joining us for the first time, please do let us know, indicate, and please let's just get to work, and then get up from there. Dr. Tomilola, you're welcome to tonight's open house session. Our goal tonight is just to have a freestyle engagement, just like we did some time ago. And that is so we can allow people for once to post or to share their thoughts. So thank you for joining. This is Edvestigate Live, and this is Rotimi Attire. And we normally host this session every Sunday, 5 to 6. And today we started a bit late, but I believe that it's better late than never. If anything you like us to talk about today, please feel free to let us know. Hey, big sister, Bukia Renega, how are you? Thank you for joining. So we're having a freestyle day today. It's called the Edvestigate Live Open House. So if you would like us to say something, you'd like us to talk about something, you'd like to ask a question, or you'd like to join us and co-host, please be my guest. Let us know. Ugo, thank you for joining. Yes, thank you all for joining. Please let us know. Ali, good to have you here. The last time you breezed in and then you disappeared. How is it over there, wherever you are, whichever part of the world you are actually? Good to see you. Good to have you online. And so normally on Investigate Live, we come to the platform to engage people on issues and to help to tackle professional issues on professionalism, issues on business, issues around education, and we always have a great time together. And we've learned a lot in the past few weeks and past few months, and of course, most people have given feedback about the experience and the knowledge gained on Edvestigate Life. Edvestigate is a combination of two words, education and investigation, tackling issues that border around business, professionalism, and education. So if you have questions, tonight we're not giving you any topic tonight. So tonight it's you coming on board and sharing your experiences or asking your questions or concerns, and we will take it up from there, and then we'll have a great time to engage with each other. So if you like to say something, if you like to ask something, if you like to know something, please do not hesitate to say or mention it. Thank you, Galatians 6:10 for joining. Thank you, Bukerenga. Thank you, Alimi Itayo. Thank you, Ugo. Thank you, Dr. Tomilala. Thank you, Bukerenga, for joining. So we're waiting. Anyone who wants to go live with me or who wants to share, who wants to ask questions. Questions. Tonight we'll just be here for a very short time today, but then we will be willing to address issues and concerns. Dr. Tomilola, you don't have questions? You normally ask questions. Do you have questions tonight? Tonight is our open house, and we will be giving room for people out there to ask us questions, to present to us anything that they would like to know about. So please feel free to ask a question. Thank you. Okay, so is Alimi there? Okay, we just have 2 people. Okay. Ugo says, I have a media solution for schools that helps them record and teach their students virtually. How do I go about presenting it to schools? I like that question. That's a business-centric question. Ugo is a businessman. All right, so when it comes to presenting solutions to schools, especially solutions that help achieve the issue of the hour, one of the things that would have been the normal thing to do is to set up either a meeting, virtual meeting, or a FaceTime meeting. But because of the season, the COVID-19 season, it's a bit difficult to have FaceTime meetings with a lot of people. But I bet you one of the things that you should do is to create a proposal out of the solution and identify the type of schools or the grade of schools that will be interested or that the solution will serve. And once you're able to do that, come up with a prospect list and then engage them. So there are platforms where you can engage them. Facebook is a very good platform. And also, you can actually decide to showcase almost like you're doing an open public domain pitch for yourself. So you could set up an Instagram live, you could set up a Facebook live, and you could actually present your solution in such a way that the world will listen, tag people who are in the sphere, and then you get answers in the process. Another medium, it might be to record yourself talking about the solution and also giving to people to help you share. Another thing that you could also explore is that you might decide to create more or less like something that engage people, bringing it, like a freebie or some free dimension of the service of what you do that can actually attract people. And you can actually go beyond that. You could even go to the point where you could create a topical issue out of your solution that at the end of the day, your solution now becomes the answer to the questions you've raised from the topical issue. So if you're able to do that, I'm sure you will get access to schools. A lot of schools right now are listening and are open to solutions that can deliver to them, things that solve their problem, things that come along with speed, things that are suitable and flexible and also functional for them. So I don't know if that's been able to answer your question, Ugo, but if not, please try to be a bit more specific so I could help you the more. And while I was answering the question, I believe we had some people join us. We have AM Ola Squared. We have Glory Madwagu. Thank you for joining. We have Liz Drella. Lisbeth, thank you for joining. We have the Scratchboard. Scratchboard, thank you for joining. We have Physique School. Thank you for joining. We have David Folaromi, great guy. Thank you for joining. And we have Kemi, Quintessential Kemi. Thank you for joining. We have AM Ola Square, sorry. Thank you for joining. So it helped a lot. Thank you, Ugo. So we are having what we call the Edvestigate Live Open House tonight, and what we're doing simply is just giving opportunities for people to create their questions or ask their questions, create a topic for us to discuss. I'm not bringing any topic to the table, but we are willing to engage people on the subject matter that they bring up. And if you want to go live with me, please be my guest. I will be willing to, bring you online. So we're streaming on YouTube, we're streaming on Instagram as well. Thank you, Sugarcraft, Yemi Adebayo. Thank you for joining. Aladi Yemi, how are you? So if you're joining us, this is Edvestigate Live. We tackle issues on business and issues that bother about professionalism, issues that also bother about education. So if you have questions or you would like us to talk about something, please feel free, be my guest. Say that thing, mention that thing, ask that question. Be bold, be courageous, feel free, and I'll try my possible best to answer the questions that you might have. So this is Edvestigate Live. We come online every Sunday, and we've been doing that for months now. And we decided that once in a while we'll throw the session open to people to ask questions that they might probably want to, find answers to, things that bother them, things that can deliver on solutions that they desire or are looking for. So any question, any question, any question? Any question? Any question? Any question? Any question? Kemi, any question? David, any question? Yemi, any question? Yemi, we need to talk. We need to catch up. How is business? How's the family? Fisayo Kicks, how are you? Longest time. Elizabeth, any question? Lisa Drella, any question? Any question? Any question? Any question? Okay. No questions? Are you sure? Timmy, yes, I know Timmy definitely will have questions. Timmy would definitely not mind joining me live. So Timmy, how are you? Timmy Onodbolu, how are you? Thank you for joining. This is Edvestigate Live, another open house session today. And I would like you to feel free to join us and ask your questions. Are there questions that you have? Please let us know. Any questions? Oh, I've seen some runaways. Child body safety NG, how are you? Not today, no questions. Timmy, it's not possible. You have questions. You are question personified. So, all right. What advice? I have a question from Sugarcraft by Aladeyemi. What advice do you have for teachers out of work as a result of the current pandemic? Some private schools are shutting down. That's true. Thank you for that question. And it's actually something that I've been addressing on the private behind the scene. A lot of people have been giving me calls, and yes, we have so many people who've been having challenges in the area of their jobs. So my advice to teachers out there is, especially for those of them that are out of work, because there are different categories. If there's a teacher that is out of work, it simply means it's out of employment in a particular organization. So out of work does not necessarily mean you're out of sector. You're not necessarily out of profession. And normally I will always advise teachers to spend this period to discover the depth of the profession that they have. The teaching profession is not reduced to a teaching job. A teaching job is just a speck of the profession. So you have the teaching job, and sometimes at the function of the level of a school, but you have other dimensions where they can actually still add value to people and also get value added back to themselves as well. So I would advise that teachers need to upskill and upskill themselves, because being out of work might just be because of the organization's capacity. But when you upskill yourself, it makes you get back into the job market. And there are many ways you can upskill yourself. You can upskill yourself in a professional development way. You can upskill and upgrade yourself in a personal development way. Thankfully, Yemi Sugarcraft, you do a lot of vocational stuff. And this is an opportunity for you to also provide solutions to teachers who probably are mono-skilled. So there are people who can get into some activities that can still be brought back into the value chain of education and the value chain of schooling. So a lot of teachers that are very skilled and good at what they do but are out of jobs, I would like them to also explore the area of co-curricular activities and extracurricular activity, which still is within their skill set, right? And trade with it. Online, there's a big increasing market by the day for co-curricular and extracurricular activities. Right now, parents are not so excited about curricular activities, which is what is offered by mainstream schooling. Although, yes, people are doing online school, but there's a bigger market for the extracurricular and co-curricular activities. So teachers like that can start up online clubs, they can start up online clubs, and still within their level of skill and expertise and experience or exposure, they can still thrive. And then vocational outfits that also can help them upscaling themselves. Either they learn how to bake, they learn how to do other things that they can still translate back to the service that they provide. So really, upscaling is something that is a must for those of them that are out of work. Number two, they need to now study the sector. A lot of times, some people don't realize that there are different routes of entry, or there are different routes to the education market. And in the education market, you have at least a 5 framework route, and that you can actually explore. And maybe one might not be working. You might need to look at the other route to leverage on. And sometimes it's just good to dust up your CV and package yourself, and talk out there that you're willing to now not be restricted on employment basis in physical terms. You might need to get to the point of exploring virtual opportunities, virtual offers of employment. A lot of educators, especially teachers who are out of jobs or who might likely go out of jobs, they also need to look at the options where they need to embrace what we call the contract system of employment. So they might not necessarily be in a place that is like 30 days make a pay, but they might contract their hours and add values to it. And when you add value to your hours, it's still some form of employment of some sort. And then you can spread it across the divide, and then you'll still be good for it at the end of the day. I don't know if that answers your question, Yemi, if that's been able to answer your question. Okay. So I have Ola Square. online. Thank you for joining. Rich Finesse Solution, sorry. Thank you for joining, right? So, any questions? Any questions? I'm here to answer your questions and we'll deliberate together. So, if you're there and you're live with me today, please feel free to say something, ask a question, or raise a concern, bring answers to some things people don't know, or better still, let's just have a very good time together on this broadcast. All right? I'm surprised Timmy doesn't have a question today. Timmy is not in the mood. Thank you, Eddie Injok, for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is Edvestigate Live. Thank you, Yemi. Thank you for the question. And I'm glad that you found it useful. And you could also tell us about what you're up to. Yemi, you should actually come online. Let's have a session together. Anyone there? Kemi Ogusanya, thank you for joining on Edvestigate Live. So, like I said, today is open house, and in open house, we throw it open for conversations to come up from people, question and answers, and all that. So, if you'd like to ask any question, if you'd like to raise a topic for us to discuss on, so you might not have a question, but you might have a topic that you would like us to address, a burning issue that you might like us to address, please feel free to ask or raise or suggest these questions or topics. Hello. I have a lucky guest. Hello. 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 Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Hello. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining. Just let me just use this opportunity to mention some of the things that we do. So we normally tackle issues that bother around education and professionalism, and we run what we call verification solutions, investigating people's professional conduct and outcomes for those who are looking for employing people. We do that, and we also run trainings and organizational development sessions, and we do that also on Edvestigate. Edvestigate is a platform, it's a program, it's also an organization. And we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and we also run live meetings. So one of the things that we will be doing from time to time is to showcase upcoming events and upcoming programs that you can be a part of, either as a professional, as an educator, as a stakeholder within the education industry. No problem. AM square, Ola square, no problem. So I'm still asking questions. Do we have questions? Do we have questions? Do we have questions? No questions. So can anyone tell me what they're doing differently or what they plan to do differently after this period? Anybody? Or AM Ola Square, Sugar Crafts by Aladi. I mean, do you want to share with us so we can learn? Mandy Zone 1, thank you for joining. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you. Thank you for joining. It's an open house tonight, so if you have questions, please feel free to ask your questions. If you have a topic you would like me to touch on or to discuss, please let me know. Hello, Mandy Zone 1. Do you have a question for me? Do you have a topic you'd like us to discuss about or an issue for us to trash? Today is open house on Edvestigate Live. And unfortunately, Ronke Posh is not available today, but I believe that once she comes online, she will join us. El Dante.alive. Great to see you, Abib. How are you? Great to see you. Been a long time. So, any question? I have a lot of people online. Any question? 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 We are live tonight. Any question? Does anyone want to share? Does anyone want to ask? Does anyone want to learn? And if possible, does anyone want to come live with me? Come on live with me. Good to see you. Yes, we need to catch up. We need to talk. I don't know if you still have my number. Well, let's talk. What's happening? What part of the world are you at right now? Okay, so Yemi saying something to do differently, achieving much more while working remotely. I like that. Yes, a lot of us, we need to realize that working remotely is no longer an interruption to our workplace reality. It is now a reality that we must try to leverage and try to harness because that's the way the world is tilting. Although I'm not a fan of when you hear people say that's the way things are, but you have to look at the reality of your business and try as much as possible to leverage on a business model that makes you to do more with less. So please feel free if you have any need. I'm there now, so just call upon my name and we'll see how we work things out. But working remotely is actually a very good way to increase efficiency, reduce costs, and sometimes also just to do things in a better way. So someone has a question. I wanted to ask, what sort of virtual engagement can be offered to kids in crèche? Some schools actually have population of kids between the age of 3 months to 2 years. What can they do to remain in business? Okay. And then Mandy is asking, how do I make the parents in my school accept virtual learning? The Adaize, thank you for joining. Happy birthday in arrears. Good to see you. All right, so let me start by by answering the first question. I want to ask what sort of virtual engagement can be offered to kids in crèche. Some schools actually have population of kids between the age of 3 to 2 years. So, like you said, you have kids between the age of 3 months to 2 years. And what kind of virtual engagement can be offered to them? There's a lot that can be offered. And one of the things that you need to realize is that the period that we are at actually gives you room, to sell your experience more than your activities. A lot of people have the notion that school is tied to activities. And so your goal is not to load, or your goal is not to seek for so many things to do to impress the parents, to show that you're a school, to show that you're offering value, to show that you need to collect money now, or to show that they don't need to hop and get away from your organization after the lockdown. So one thing that is very important is that you must seek to share and sell your experience this season. And when you look at the kids between 3 to 2 years, as in 3 months to 2 years, there are different things that you normally do when they're at your place. Now, there are some things that might be limited to because of interaction or FaceTime, but you can also peg your delivery from the area of support. Now, most times parents send their children to schools regardless of the age of the kids, because they also want someone to outsource their care to. So as a school, you are taking care of the children on behalf of the parents. Before we talk about learning or interaction, about the learning space, so you want to ask yourself, what can I do that can introduce that same experience to the parents out there, so that when I look at it, a child of 3 months, I can, as a school, schedule how they should take care of the child for that period or for that day. I could schedule the things, I could send resources. So, for example, the children normally sleep in a controlled environment like a school environment. You can share with parents, music to play in the background to aid sleep. You can share with them play activities to engage the children when they are awake. You can share with them opportunities, options of meal structuring, and the likes. Of course, when the younger they are, you also need to maneuver age-specific engagement, and there are open source information online that you can engage with. But the most important thing is you start from service before you go to activity. Sometimes you just might need to turn to build a conversation with the parents during this period. And so when you're trying to engage these kids, you look for shows that you can schedule. You can look for shows that you can notify parents. And in some cases, you can actually record yourself, or your staff record themselves, because those children know them, know their faces, know their voice, can at least identify for some of them. A child of 2 years can identify someone's face and the voice, and bring a touch of experience to the table, and that makes the child connect with you. In some cases, it might just be you reading a story, and you can have different bedtime stories. You can have different stories that you can just cue in a recorded manner and share to the parents as links. In downloading it, they feel that yes, the school has taken a step to engage them beyond the physical dimension of schooling, and which also um, would answer the second question. Uh, Thank you. While I'm about to answer the second question, Daria Kenaja, thank you for joining. My double double, thank you for joining. Child body safety is back. Thank you for joining. And then she said, Timmy is saying, please, can we add school? It's gone for now. Let's change. Let's change focus. Okay. Yeah. So then the question that I have here is, how do I make the parents in my school accept virtual learning? Well, the first thing that you need to do is you need to work on your messaging. And your messaging simply means the way you construct your level of engagement with the parents. So how do you announce your plan? How do you inform them of the features and the benefits? The way you structure those things matter a lot. And in some cases, you create it from simple to complex, meaning that there's a soft landing at first. And where you need to ensure that there's proper dialogue, you bring dialogue to the table. In making sure that parents accept virtual learning, there has to be dialogue. And dialogue will cut across all the areas. And they need to see the benefits more than the features. When this lockdown started, a lot of people were running ahead and running far off to learn a lot of things so that they can actually showcase the tools that they know. Well, as good as learning tools are, but we always need to realize it comes down to the point where we must realize that the dialogue must show to the parents the impact of what it means to continually engage them. Virtual learning is almost like saying that we're doing the same thing, but we are leveraging on a different medium. We're doing the same thing, but we are ensuring that we are not letting things slide just because of the lockdown. They see the resourcefulness of the school rather than the opportunist nature of the school. That's what the messaging would do. A positive messaging, a powerful messaging will do for your school. So build the mentality to the parents by engaging them in dialogue. In some cases, you tell them it's in phases. Sometimes, when you download some applications online, you see the word free trial or trial version, sometimes trial for 30 days. What they're trying to do is to get you to experience it, which further emphasizes the benefit or the value of that thing. And then people get to jump on board. I don't know if I'm able to answer your question, Mandy. Okay, AMOLA squared. That's good. So to me, saying parents need to learn to seize each teachable moment in the home. Absolutely. There are several to be keyed into every single day. So much value lying there. And teachers should use that to churn out services, lessons, value. Okay. Learning is a product. Show them how to recognize learning moments. Thank you for that addition, Timmy. Excuse me. So do we have any other question? Do we have any addition? Do we have concerns? Do we have topics we need to discuss? Please feel free. This is Edvestigate Live and we are at the open house. Any question? Any question? Do you have questions for me? If you have questions for me, please let me know. Questions that bother you, questions that bother your business or the business space, please let me know. Anybody out there with a question? Okay, Rhoda, hello. So, Rhoda, welcome to Edvestigate Live. We're having an open house tonight and we're having questions from people. I've answered some questions, by the way. So, we're looking at answering questions or taking on topic of concerns for the next few minutes till we finish up the broadcast. We want people to share or ask or tell us what they need us to talk about. So today we are not giving topics to people, it's the public giving topics to us or asking questions and getting answers. So Rhoda, now that Rhoda is saying yippee, I'm getting scared. Rhoda might be up to something on her sleeves. So bring it on, Rhoda. Bring it on. Or does Rhoda want to join me online? Let me see if Mandy Zone wants to join me online. Mandy Zone, are you there? Any question, any question, any question, any question, any question, any question. No question. No question. Okay. Rhoda will always be ready. Okay. So, open as it is. Are you there?
Let me just request. Let me quickly request. Sorry. Let me quickly request. Sorry.
Okay. What if I don't take your question? Okay, so Rhoda, shoot. What's your question? Rhoda. No. They can ask the question. So, first things first, right? We need to realize that a school is first. Um, let me put it this way: school is not just a place; it's a platform. School is also an experience. But then, what makes a school a place, a platform, and an experience is a system of school. So, in response to your question, we must, as a thing of like urgency, revamp the school system. That if there are limitations where people cannot go to school, then school must come to them. We cannot play indifferent and then expect that after some months and after some weeks, things can go back to normal. So, what do we need? We need mind power before we talk about muscle power. Because most of the things that would change will naturally shift each individual involved with the change. Number one, if we say let's do A, we must be willing to follow through and monitor that A is done. That's the first place of hypocrisy. Because we most likely would want people to do in spite of us. And that's where you mentioned about, is muscle involved? Yes, there'll be muscle, and muscle in terms of manpower. There's a lot of available manpower that we can convert because we are in a state of emergency. So if, for example, we are able to mine information or throw it out there like an open survey, there's nothing stopping us from having open air classrooms, just like you have an open air crusade. Do you understand? There's nothing stopping us from having an e-tab club, like you used to have a video club. If devices cannot be everywhere, we can actually have a device dump. Do you understand? So a device dump, what it does is just gets people to ration or rotate limited resource, but then across certain level of people, it gets them having access as well, because the goal must be access. Do you understand? So we have teachers who can imbibe, implement social distancing, who can follow the hygiene and the rule of sanitizing and washing themselves and washing their hands, but they are locked up because our minds have refused to shift. So think about it. If we consider that the learning sector is also an essential sector, then it will be a lot more easier to get education running in spite of the lockdown. The buildings have never been enough, but the system can always be enough.
One big one has to get like that if we cannot go to school, then we have to bring them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where we have how to be and that's where we now the fact that mind power.
Mm.
But even that the example you shared about the fact that compared to people eating in our local of the that's not what temple. What makes it kind of things like that and doing something how go back. But have what the power of the mind what are that first of all. I mean I totally agree. It's always nice to have this balance. What makes them try the most like you said that
Mm.
and it has all the mind. It's all about the mind. And so that probably takes so how do we galvanize? How do we galvanize, you know, I think that's the first step folk and how all this fight. So how do we just like what do we all need because for instance sometimes so many songs, so many you understand who are saying who have phone counts and all of that. I get it, I understand it. But we're not yet talking not talking to people yet and these are the people in our community that they're not hearing us. We're talking to ourselves
Mm.
of like mind, of like or something ladder, of like not much, and that means that if everyone wants some form of money, then how to be galvanized, how to be galvanized.
I think galvanizing will require us making a call. I think when you have a call, that's when you have a response. So there are many people who will not move until there's a call. So listen to the national anthem. It says, "Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call." So it's almost the same thing as saying, Arise, O educators, education's call will be. If we don't get people to recognize that there's a call of the hour, it won't, there will be nothing rising up inside of us to say that we don't need to wait any longer. What are we even waiting for? What has waiting delivered to us? If we were other people, or if other countries were like us, they will not talk about the issues alone. They will mobilize to tackle the issue. And this brings to question this critical thinking surge for the past 2 years that started 2017, 2018, 2019 into 2020. We've been talking about critical thinking, and we've been teaching and training it in the classrooms. We've been doing that in workshops. Where is it today? Where is the fruit of critical thinking? Because for you to think critically, it must be linked to problem solving. So if we have been talking, it's just like emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence. We are people who like to make checklist of history. We make checklist of knowledge, right? I think this is a time where we will now say, if you know something, if you have something, and indeed if you can do something, let's join our hands together. If government is slow, the people can be fast. So, but the thing is, we must not end up failing these children, because there is no excuse. If you listen to so many people dissect the issues, oh my God, you will be weak. You will lose energy. But at the same time, if we flip the coin, the problems can now tilt to the numbers, and then you find out that everybody takes it as a call. So we wake up in the morning and we say, you know what, guys, we want to fix the solution for access to learning, or we create an hashtag and say, learning continues. You will see people rise up, bring up wisdom, bring up innovation, bring up creativity, and then place in the hands of enablers. Boom, something happens. Poster buses that have been packed in the schools will come out, and then people will put LED screens on them, and pre-recorded classes or live classes can be packed into that thing, and then it's being displayed for a particular area. Boom, before you know it, daytime projectors will surface from churches that have closed and are not using the projectors. But the projectors have strong lens, they call it lumens, right? And then you are able to project for a particular community. And the children can watch from the balcony. They can see maths from a projected screen. Boom. Then we'll take our religiosity and turn it into resourcefulness. So those people who used to preach with megaphones in the morning, they call it morning cry. We will now have things like maths cry, English cry, civic cry. And people will begin to do things in the same way things have been done, but achieving a different result. And when the government sees it documented, and when the international world sees it documented, either out of shame or out of support, you will see people bring in their hands and resources.
Absolutely. I mean, so many programs just said that even just from the point of view of galvanizing. So it like has to be like a community of solution.
Absolutely.
So that's what we tend to compile and ask together and say, how do we, you know, instead of like a price, instead of like coming out with our morning price,
Yeah.
how do we start a night price in the
Mm.
community?
Yeah.
How can we for the past people who work as an example
Yeah.
and say, okay, we have 20 local government education authority areas. In these 20 government local government areas, how do we start a
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
And then there are echoes of experience saying here, and there's so much to do with that on that kind of platform. It's exactly what we need, what we need, right now. And I think that's what we do. So we're looking at everybody here. We are hopefully coming together. It's now time for us to take the goal and start that releasing the organizer to say, okay, in this community, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 devices. Who do we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 balance? And things like that. And that's exactly what we say we have done,
Mm.
right? So everything that we've been doing is talk.
No action.
Good, good, the action. We need the action. We need action. So that's exactly what we need that we need to get. So everybody who is like, well, Zoom, so I say, oh, nice one. Is very nice. But no one is coming together.
Mm.
No one is coming together to get that.
Mm.
What do we need to do? So as one people, we are together. Even if it's just kind of
Yeah.
one commitment and get the feedback that
Absolutely.
I think that I'm happy
Mm.
I just on this side.
Thank you.
Follow you with brainstorm, right? Thank you so much.
Yes.
That I think what we're saying. So let's have a mass cry. Because cry. This is cry. One of the most important subjects in Nigeria and I think in activating for us activating
Mm.
this was simply children. Children is the one that is pandemic and how does that affect your life? What do you expect from and what kind of gaps are they that exist as a child,
Mm.
these are some things somebody saying to me, something you really smile of me that absolutely, absolutely, I'm saying absolutely yes, and I need to as my boss in Korea, and all of you who are in this life system, for us to pilot together so we can come with a strategy and all of that. But we need to organize together. So it is not a road that it is our effort. It is our effort. It is sacrifice. Whatever it is for it. It's sacrifice. Whatever it is for it. I have a mentor here who comes to me. He's the best there. So he knows exactly what to do and I will have to. So yes, it's something like this. Okay. So if I was thinking about that, I just being able to activate that. I know there's a lot of students that know, right? But citizenship literacy rates are even lower because we don't know what we don't know how to act right questions.
And we don't even
We
know
just don't
who
know
the average Nigerian child is. Yeah.
who is this child. What is that? And the numbers are not like when we're talking about open language, the numbers are alarming. You have some of it's a lot. If that is what I'm saying, I'm not saying something that I am seeing. Telling you something that is data is collected. I have the mind of children are not eating. If 40% of them are not eating, that is it, right? And then we have the migration that has always happened going down. Because children are coming in, and then of course leading to that literacy level as well. So yeah, I think. Thank you for answering my question. Thank
Yep.
you, thank you, thank
You're welcome. So, we've actually had a great time today, and I know Timmy might be warming up to ask questions, but I'm not going to give her that chance today. She's lost her chance. Yeah. But Timmy is always ready. Thank you to everyone who's been a part of today's session. And I believe that what Rhoda just said is something we all need to reflect and act upon. So there's a call to everyone out there, and we need to respond. Let it not be that we wasted 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, or whatever weeks just talking about intelligent matters. Um, yeah, if our buildings are locked, our brains are not locked, so we can do something. And thankfully, a lot of people are going out about their businesses. So we can also go out about our business, but this time I'm making a difference with our business. So, yes. So, thank you. And we'll see you this time next week at Edvestigate Live. So, take care. Art Talk Education next. Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for everyone joining. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.